Okay, back to the whole Hurricane Katrina thing. Thank you guys for your responses. Your opinions are greatly respected. Um, a lot of you have expressed your feelings, and I understand. I understand where some of you are coming from, but the hard facts are, you know, um, if something happens in America, we need to stick together as a community. We are one nation, and we are one community also. And for you know, looking at you see things on TV that they're not affected. People are moving out of the state. They're moving to all parts of the country. And a fine example of this was I was driving down a street where I live, and there was African American, a group of African Americans. They're probably about my age, 25 to 30 maybe, and they were out on the street. Man, they're asking for some money, to help them out, and you know. I said no, I couldn't help them because I didn't have any money myself, and I feel guilty. I feel like awful. I was just like, I can't help you, and the whole thing was, they were saving money to, help their community out back home, and it kind of made me think, what are we doing as a nation to help them? If our leaders aren't doing anything, maybe we need to resolve it on our own behalf. And this is, obviously, my last comments were some of them maybe made some of you a little upset, and I do understand that. I'm a liberal thinking person. I grew up liberal. I'm a Democrat. I'm proud of it, and I'm going to support my beliefs and who I am, and what I stand. And it's our nation with President Bush in power. I can't think of any good he's done. Since he's been elected president. And the scary reality is our country is hurting. Our country is not not doing its part at all. When it comes to issues around the world, also like Darfur. I mean, we're not even going there. We'd rather send the United Nations over there to fight UN peacekeeper forces there. For instance, there's other things going on in our country, like the homeless population is getting larger on a scale. There's children who don't get to have a meal every day. It's it's pretty bad. When we're supposed to be the wealthiest country on the planet, and we act like we're the a third world country, and some states are New Orleans, that part of Louisiana. I've never been to Louisiana, but what I've heard from friends who have brought back pictures of it, it looks like it's a third world nation. It's absolutely devastating what those people have to go through. White, black, Hispanic, it doesn't matter who you are. Everyone is suffering, and towards the end of this, maybe New Orleans wasn't meant to exist, but guess what, people? It does, and the people and the culture, it's still there. It's still gonna flourish. It's still gonna be there. Maybe it wasn't meant to be a city, but guess what? When the French established that town, when it was part of the Louisiana Purchase or whatever, it came in. They made it a city. They made it a port. And all of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom, it's a city. It's a great place. I mean, what I've heard, great culture, and I respect it greatly. And what we're doing is ignoring the facts of life. We're ignoring what needs to be done. If something happened to me where I grew up in Montana, if a forest fire happens, burns down my house, burns down my neighbor's house, burns down, whatever. Let's say I lived up in the forest area, which I don't, but let's just say it happened. Would I leave or would I stay? The question is, I would stay because I love it. And the reason why those people don't leave, the reason why they're ignorant, which isn't a bad thing, is because they say, I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna make it better. Now there's some people that left to Houston, or they left to Seattle, or they left to New York to try to make a better life for themselves, which is fine. which is great. They left. Hey, it's okay. But for the people that stayed, I commend you. You are the future of New Orleans. Your children are the future of New Orleans. You're there to make it better. I highly commend you again. But at the end of the day, I would never leave my home, and I understand why a lot of you people didn't. But again, FEMA didn't do their job. President Bush didn't do their job. This Republican government that we have right now, or we don't, yeah, the Republican government. It's not they don't stand. They don't they don't make America look good. Bush doesn't make America look good. Um, I hope whoever the next president is, Hillary Clinton, Giuliani, um, Barack Obama, I hope you know makes our nation good, and makes us stronger and makes us realize that hey, these events, they're gonna happen. You can't predict the weather, like some of you guys quoted, and I agree with you. But again, there's people, they're not gonna leave their homes, and we as a nation need to, respect them. And again, I thank you for all your comments. I thank everybody for your opinion. That's what makes America great. That's what makes us the greatest nation on the planet. And P.S. I'm not moving to Canada. No way. But thanks for the comment on that one. You rock it. All right. Talk to you later. Peace. All right.